Hey everybody, welcome to the Link Up Professional Development for the Orchestra Sings. We wanted to start with just a little bit of a reflection on your work last year. Now, of course, last year we had the Orchestra Rocks curriculum. We had a filmed concert last year. Some of you may have participated and done things in the classroom. Some of you may have watched the concert from your classrooms. And I guess I'm interested in one thing that I'll ask you to put into the chat right now, and that is, we know that there were a lot of challenges in working last year. We all felt them. We all worked on them in different ways and worked through them in different ways. But what was a silver lining for you? What was a silver lining? And I'm going to ask you again to put that right into the chat. What was a silver lining that came out of the time that you spent with your students, whether on Zoom or hybrid or whatever situation that ended up in? So we'll start with that. And again, if you can just go ahead and type it and put it into the chat. What was one silver lining? Great. So Rebecca's saying they loved the concert. Oh, that's great. And Johnny Be Good. Yeah, wasn't that fun? That was totally fun. Oh, doing things in small groups, Sarah says. And bringing what we do into the homes and the families of students. I certainly felt that myself. Yeah, thanks. This is great. I'm glad you liked the concert. That's beautiful. Concert was great. Any other silver linings that you want to add in? Thank you so much. I know you're making your way to your keyboards. Students enjoyed the activities. Great. Made students appreciate singing more this year, because they couldn't so much until the end of last year.
That's nice.
Yeah. How are you feeling getting back to singing, Shanna?
It's nice. It's great to sing. I'm ready to sing with more voices, so I'm excited to be here. Hi, everyone, to be singing with you and Ray today. That feels extra special. So I understand that even singing with a couple of the voices feels really, really special.
Great. So Elizabeth says, my students love the concert, first quality production. We also did a history of rock music. That's great, because Johnny Be Good became a kind of an invitation to that in a certain way.
What about some other strategies that maybe you found as something that you want to keep in your toolbox now that when you do have your guidelines in your classrooms, and I know everybody's are different, something that you want to bring in to try, or some way, if for that day you can't be singing, maybe a strategy that was successful.
Yeah, that's great. So now we'll switch gears a little bit. If you could put in a strategy for working this year, maybe it's something, again, that you're holding on to, as Shanna said, right? What's a strategy that you might employ this year in working with Link Up? We got more people joining. All right, beautiful. Hey. Great, Rami. I'm glad they enjoyed the concert, Rami. That's great. Any other strategies that people want to add in? Beautiful.
Give it like one more beat here. Here we go.
That's great. So, Flipgrid lessons for students to send their performances.
That's great. So still allowing students to share what they're doing.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Even in my work at the Juilliard School, working with dancers, they spent so much time learning how to do film work and cameras and documenting themselves. They became quite expert at it by the end of the year in a way that I'm not sure they would have otherwise. So that's really cool.
It's an interesting assessment tool as well for them. I know we have the assessments pages in the curriculum, but that's a really nice way for them to be able to self-assess where they are and how they're improving.
Yeah. Beautiful. Listen, thank you so much for that. Shanna, can you talk a little bit now about this year's The Orchestra Sings?
Yeah, The Orchestra Sings. Really, really excited to be back and to see you all here. So we were thinking about what is the theme of The Orchestra Sings? So I was thinking about it in two parts. So it's what is The Orchestra Sings? And it's all about great melodies. And what great melodies do. So they can express ideas and emotions, they can tell a story, One of my favorite ones, they can bring people together through song. If you have any other ideas that you want to pop into the chat, go for it. And then it's like, so how we have the what is a great melody, but then how do composers do it? How do you create a great melody? So some of the things that you can explore this year are combinations of rhythmic patterns and sweeping contours, expressive qualities, and then there's some new activities in there that are really about students sharing stories, or you sharing stories of who you are, or students sharing stories about themselves and their influences and how that might create a great melody. So that to me is really like the theme of the orchestra sings.
You know, it's beautiful. The Music Educators Workshop just a few years ago, Alice Parker, the fabled conductor and composer, came in and she talked about melody in this way. She said, a song is a melody surrounded by itself. And that's a great way to think about melodies, right? That they're so potent that they can create the harmony. They'll have in them the DNA of the rhythm. They'll have all of the dimensions of a song really kind of in the melody to begin with.
Sure. Yeah.
Beautiful. The orchestra sings. Yeah.
And just some nuts and bolts for those of you who might be new. Welcome if you are new, and if you're returning, we have some new pieces for you. Ram, Tori Maya, and We Shall Not Be Moved. So we'll get into them a little bit later. We've reorganized the orchestra sings into 4 sections, so you can really investigate the different parts of what makes these great melodies. So there's the elements of melody, building on melody, so like melodic layers, exploring lyrics, and then melodies and context, so the stories, cultural influences, and of course, there's some dancing. So I hope you have your dancing shoes on today, and a little bit of space. How you can use this curriculum: you can pull it out by the piece of repertoire. You can be thinking about a concept that you're doing in your classroom that LinkUp can support. All of the rep is up front for you in the book. There's those beautiful tabs. If you have the book sent to you or online, you'll see how they are organized in those 4 parts. Then there's the repertoire exploration, which is where we get into the concepts or the meat of each activity. Then we have some fundamentals, and there's something new this year about instrument families, and we're going to share that with you at the end. And then there's just a little bit of information about the concert experience. And of course, there are still the other fundamental music skills resources, some vocal warm-ups, recorder fundamentals, where to put your fingers, and musical skills assessment, which just sounds like maybe the Flipgrid would be a good use of using that for the assessment piece as well. As you're looking at the curriculum, I believe on page 6, if you are on the PDF, you're 2 pages ahead. So you're looking at page 8, I think. There's some icons that you'll see there, and that just kind of clues you in on what your students should be doing when or how they can be playing or singing with each piece. And if there's a little video icon, that means that there's a video that you can use for teaching or for strategies. If you see a star next to a recorder, that's a little bit more of an advanced part. So you'll see how those icons work throughout. There's some different pathways that you can take with your students. There's the basic, which is your students learning all of the basic parts on the recorder or singing along, listening to each of the pieces, learning about the composer of the piece, and maybe selecting some of the activities. And then, of course, introducing the students to the orchestra. Basic plus, you can dig a little bit deeper into the musical concepts, and a little bit more of the active listening strategies around each listening piece. So going a little bit deeper than just having them recognize and hearing and being familiar with each piece. And then the advanced is for them to go really deep in and really explore all of the creative extensions. Did I miss anything, Tom?
No, it sounds great.
Thorough, right? Okay, good. Well, we're going to sing and we're going to dance. So we have some warm-ups, and I pulled these from the fundamentals that are in there to maybe pique your interest if you haven't gone into those before. So we're going to do 3 quick ones. So the first one we're going to do is just for all of us to start breathing together, because really, for me, the fundamental of singing, and I think playing the recorder, and of being a human being is breath. So we're going to do something called box breathing. So it's just going to be in a box like this. So you're going to breathe in for 4. And then you're just going to hold for 4. So you're going to do nothing. And then you're going to exhale for 4. And then nothing again. Okay? And in that nothing, I like to think of the one at the top, this nothing, as like preparing for the intention of what's going to come with the exhale. Okay, so I want you to just think about where you want that exhale to be. If you're singing, you might want to be thinking of a vowel or something like technical, but I really like to think about emotion when I'm singing, so you're kind of just like breathing that emotion or breathing that intention in and out. Okay, so we'll just do a couple of them. This is also great if you can't sleep in the middle of the night and you're just like, I'm going to do my box breathing and it's going to be okay. Okay, so here we go. We're going to breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale and hold. One more. In, hold, release, and hold. Good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now we're going to add a little energy to that breath. So we're just going to do choose your own adventure. You can do a zzz, a z, a rrr, a rolled R if you like that one, or a lip trill. So I'm going to choose a Z right now. We're just going to do 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. Thanks, Ray. So we're going to breathe in. Zzz. And join me when you're ready. Zzz. Zzz. 2 more. Beautiful. I know we're moving quickly, but I want to make sure that we get to all this wonderful repertoire. The last one we're going to do is Zinga Mama. Zinga Mama. And it sounds like this. I'll just sing it once through, and then you can join me, and we'll go up as we go, right? Okay, good. Here we go. Zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zing, 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 zing. Zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zing, 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 zing. Zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zing, 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 zing. 2 more. Zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zing, 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 zing. Last one. Zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zinga mama, zing, 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 zing. So good for the articulators, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so once you have it and your students have it and everyone's like, great, we are the best at Zinga Mama, we love it, we can't get enough of Zinga Mama, we're gonna add it, we're gonna kick it up a notch. So I'm gonna sing Zinga, so you can split your class in half, and Tom, will you sing Mama?
I'll sing Mama.
Okay, here we go, let's give it a try. And you can now pick one, here we go. Zinga,
Mama,
zinga,
Mama,
zinga,
Mama,
zinga,
Mama,
zing, 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 zing. Zinga,
Mama,
zinga,
Mama,
zinga,
Mama,
zinga,
Mama,
zing, 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 zing. Zinga,
Mama,
zinga,
zinga.
zing. And that's what happens, and it's so joyful. Hooray! Thanks, Tom. Do you want to switch?
No, that's great.
I think that's great.
That's great.
We're ready.
In the chat, if you want to, you can add more warm-ups or different things that you liked about the warm-ups that we just did with Shanna. So feel free to contribute
Absolutely.
in the chat there. Yeah. Beautiful. How many people in our group today are new to Link Up? How many are new to Link Up? If there's anybody new, can you just put your name in that? You give us a wave and let us know. I'm assuming we have a lot of returning teachers here today, but there's a new person, and it's Elizabeth Lockhart. Welcome, Elizabeth. Everybody can say welcome to Elizabeth. And also, yes, Jacqueline Prado, great. Rebecca, okay, Rebecca's just saying hi. Yeah, good, friends. Victoria is new, Georgia is new. Yay, and Kim Alardi, who's one of our returning teachers, is saying welcome to everybody. Hi, Kim. Great, yeah, keep that coming, Matthew, Amy, yeah, welcome to the new teachers. That's awesome, yeah, welcome. We want to give you the same invitation that we try to give the students at the beginning of the concert, and that is through a song that I wrote called Come to Play. It's an invitation to the orchestra, an invitation to do some counter melodies together. So there actually are 3 parts to this song called Come to Play. Now it's page 10 in the printed book. What does that mean for the
I think it's page
PDF?
12. Then.
Page 12. So it's, yeah, so you'll find it on page 12 in the PDF and 10 in the printed book. Come to Play. And what we're going to do is we're just going to read it down, right? We're going to sing it. You can follow along and just listen if you're new, but also if you see a part you want to just grab onto, they do repeat and cycle through. So it's easy to learn it as we're doing it. And shall we do Come to Play?
Let's do it.
All right. Afterwards, we'll talk just a little bit about how this song gets taught in the classroom, just briefly. We might do some of that through the chat. So Ray's going to start us off. Okay, Ray? Here we go. So.
Winds blow, trumpets sounding, strings sing. Drummers pounding, drummers pounding.
You can play this on the recorder if you like. Make it groove, make it move, make it rhyme.
What do you do with song?
Make it sing, make it ring, make it strong, make it long.
What do you do with sound? Make it cry, make it fly, make it gleam, make it your dream.
Little harp solo, and then the orchestra.
Winds blow, trumpets sounding, strings sing. Drummers pounding, drummers pounding. Winds blow, trumpets sounding, strings sing. Drummers pounding, drummers pounding. Come to play, join sound with sound. Come to sing, we'll shake the ground with song, with song, with
Come to Play. That's how it goes. And as I mentioned, maybe in the chat is the best place to put in a tip for a new teacher, someone who hasn't taught this song before. What's a great way to work on this song? It's a little complex in that there are 3 parts to learn, and so a lot going on in the classroom. But we have lots of ways to support teachers in doing that too. We've got scrolling scores. We've got, what are people? Oh, great, Timothy. I can't wait for you to teach the song either. That's really great. That's terrific. Yeah, and the recorder is obviously, you can play the recorder, you can sing, you can make a plan in your classroom that kind of really fits your students. Right. Beautiful.
Anybody, any else?
No, it's good. That's good. So that's how we open the concert, right?
Great. So
All
then,
right.
should we move on?
We should, and maybe we should do Ode to Joy.
Let's do Ode to Joy, yes. So one of the melodies that we are highlighting is Ode to Joy. Let's sing through it first, or play along, and then I'll tell you a little bit about some of the concepts that are in it, or some of the activities.
Great, and what I'll say about the recorder part is that there are two. As we mentioned before, there's some basic parts and then more complicated ones. So if you have students who are really beginning recorder students, you might want to do the basic part that is on the kind of the opposing page there, second page. And it really just uses a couple of notes, mostly an A. So as long as they can play an A, they're really going to, and a G, they're going to be fine. And they're really learning the rhythm, right? That's the basic part. The more advanced part has an F sharp in it. And so it's a little more challenging, but really fun to do. And yeah, let's do Ode to Joy.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Oh, beautiful. You're doing New World. But we're going to do Ode to Joy, right? Yeah. That's okay. That's beautiful. Yeah. So D major, right? We want to be in D major, right? So yum, bum, beam, bum.
Joyful as we join in singing anthems old yet strong and bright, near and far to all we're bringing voices filled with hope and light. Singing brings us all together when our voices would be small. Gives us power undivided, now united one and all. Singing brings us all together when our voices would be small. Gives us power undivided, now united one and all.
And we'll do the second verse.
Joyful in the songs we're singing, joined in music and in word, with the power that we're bringing, as one voice we will be heard. Singing brings us all together when our voices would be small. Gives us power undivided, now united one and all. Singing brings us all together when our voices would be small. Gives us power undivided, now united one and all.
Gosh, those words mean different things now than they mean the last time I sang them, right? So it's amazing how every day that we walk through the world, the way we are interpreting lyrics means something different. And that we still have the activities that go along with this piece that talk about analyzing rhythmic patterns and melodic contour, but there is a new activity that came up when the Ode to Joy project was happening in 2019 into 2020 that, for obvious reasons, didn't get to come to full fruition. But that project inspired this new activity that's on page, I believe it's on page 42 online, and it's about connecting personal meaning to poetry and lyrics. So really asking your students to interpret this piece, whether it's the words the poetry that they will be singing, or interpreting it as their own. What does the Ode to Joy mean to them? And then talking about musical elements that might support their interpretation. So please take a look at that, that activity. And again, if you're finding yourself in your classroom where you're like, well, today is the day we can't be singing, we can't be using the recorder today, they can be interpreting these lyrics and becoming like poets in their own right in this piece. Anything you want to add, Tom?
Yeah, just to say, from a technical point of view, with the recorder, you probably noted that when you're playing the version of the tune, that you make this little octave switch to the high A, because we don't have the low A on the recorder. So, just be aware of that. And there are some, again, optional notes and harmony notes that you can add into it. And yeah, it's interesting because actually these words are these lyrics, right? I wrote, adapting and kind of in a way like trying to take the spirit of the original Friedrich Schiller. But this last year, Tracy K. Smith, the former US poet laureate, wrote a whole new version that we did as part of the Global Ode to Joy project that was just amazing. Yeah. And it's really, really beautiful. So if you have a chance to check that out online, I think the materials and much of the work of that is still is up online in different places, and it's fabulous and worth checking out. Great. So we're going to move on, right? Should we move on?
Oh, I think I'm seeing a note from Angelica.
I can't see it,
Angelica's asking for us to take a poll on how many of you will be using the recorder this year in the classroom, or if you have figured out a way to use your recorder maybe like as homework, or how are you incorporating the recorder this year? Yeah,
beautiful. That's great. I saw there was a lot of chat back and forth about what are we going to be able to do in in the classroom this year. There's a whole set of considerations if you're in a New York City public school classroom, and then obviously different considerations if you're in an independent school or outside of the city.
Right.
Yeah. What are we finding out from our poll? Shanna, you're watching it in live action. Right?
I am.
Yeah, that's good.
It's looking like maybe half of our teachers can use the recorders in person.
Right. Right. And a lot of teachers are talking about the strategy of doing some of the kind of physical instruction when they're in the classroom and then sending the recorders home, so that then that can happen outside of the group situation in the classroom. That's one solution that we've heard. In addition, there are all these things about different mechanisms that can be used with the recorder, but yeah.
Right, and that's like when those fundamentals can come in handy too, like having your students watch those videos at home for them to, like even if you can just use the fingering in the classroom and then they can blow into it at home.
Yeah, nice. Great, so we can keep that chat going.
So it's, it looks about like half and half. And there, some people are going outside for the recorders, always a great option.
Yeah, I just did a singing session with a class of mine the other day outside, and it was wonderful.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Okay, shall we move on to New World? Okay.
Is it New World or the new piece?
Oh, sorry. I'm going out of order.
Yes.
I'm going out of order. No, we should do We Shall Not Be Moved.
Yes. So this is one of our new pieces. Composer Natalie Joachim we asked her to reimagine a freedom song, We Shall Not Be Moved, that has been reimagined many times. So it's not even the idea of a new arrangement, but it's a reimagining. So how is she going to interpret this for your students? So really thinking about the poetry, thinking about it even as like spoken word. And this is the piece in the concert that we really want voices coming together. Like this is the moment when we'll all be singing and really feeling and understanding the power of song. So we have a video of Natalie introducing this piece and introducing herself to you and your students. So we're going to roll that now.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Joachim. I am a flutist, vocalist, and composer, originally from Brooklyn, New York, now based in Chicago. Much of my work is centered in storytelling and creating space for voices, past, present, and future, within my music in as many ways as possible. Education is truly a cornerstone of my artistic practice and something I'm deeply committed to because I genuinely believe that it is one of the best ways that we can empower future generations to be supportive and caring of one another as they move through the world, and because I believe that music is a fantastic vehicle to make that happen. So I'm super excited to be collaborating with Carnegie Hall and the Wild Music Institute on this new arrangement of We Shall Not Be Moved for the Link Up program. Now, when I was asked to reimagine a traditional spiritual, I have to admit that I had to do a bit of research. As a first-generation Haitian American, so much of my cultural upbringing was rooted in a very different style of traditional music. However, as I was going through songs, I immediately gravitated to We Shall Not Be Moved, not only for its message, but for its historical context. The song dates all the way back to the slave era, coming out of African American musical traditions, and had a huge resurgence as a protest song during the civil rights movement in the 1960s. It has been reimagined by so many artists across genres, including some of my personal favorites like Mavis Staples and Joan Baez, and it even inspired the title of a beautiful collection of poems by Maya Angelou. In working on my arrangement, I'm drawing inspiration from the many iterations of this song through the years. I love that its melody is simple and clear, which makes it great for young people, while leaving lots of room for my own creative sensibility. I also like that outside of its core verse, the lyrics have always been treated flexibly, which allows space for us to personalize it to our collective story in this moment. I cannot wait to share what I'm coming up with you all, and hope that you can lean into this song's rich history and musical strength in your classrooms. I look forward to sharing this experience with you. Thank you so much.
Really beautiful.
So what we're going to do now is we're just going to sing through the simple melody of the piece, and then we're going to do a little composing activity with all of you.
Yeah, so you can find that melody. It's not in the beginning with the repertoire, but it's in the curriculum, and it's on page 42 in the book, which means
44.
44 in the PDF. Yeah, and yeah, this is it's the melody of the Freedom Song that Natalie mentioned, and we don't know exactly how. She's not finished her orchestration, her arrangement, her reimagining of the piece yet. So, but what she did want us to do is to learn the tune. So we're going to try to just learn the tune, right?
Yes.
Want to lead us?
Sure.
Shanna? Yeah.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved.
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
the melody is so simple. So then your students can create their own message, and we want them to create their own freedom song, have their own interpretation, their own reimagining of this piece. So we're going to do this right now.
Yeah, we'll do just a little bit of the activity. It's in a more sort of fleshed out version here in the book, but the idea is to start with the structure of the tune and really think about the heart of what this freedom song is about, right? It's the idea of what you love so much, you wouldn't give up, you wouldn't be moved from it, right? So the first thing that we want to do is have a little brainstorm discussion through the chat with you now about what could that be. And this is something you'll do with your students too. You'll have a discussion about what's most important to you. What would you not let go of, right? So if we can do that now and put that into the chat, right? What's something that really has deep meaning to you that you would not let go? Family. Someone said family.
My son.
Ooh, more family. Great.
My dog, family as well. Kindness.
Hope. Beautiful. Just wait a second for some others. So we're just, in a way, like now, knowledge, great, love. We're just reading through these, thinking about, ooh, what might make a really cool refrain, right? Because what we want to do is, there's the opening, right? That is, we shall not be moved, right? Within those 2 bars, we want to place some new lyrics, right? Based on one of these messages, these ideas, right? So we've got a lot of ideas here: music, freedom, creativity, health, family, lots of different things. But now we want to do the thing of actually trying to convert one of those messages, or more, into a phrase that would fit into the 2 bars of we shall not be moved, right? Yes, and Amy is pointing out that the activity is in the book. And actually, if we turn the page there to the page that says My Freedom Song at the top, I guess that's 46 in the PDF,
Yep.
right? You'll see. So first we're going to choose our message, right?
Yes.
I kind of like that family one that was right out of the box.
I do too.
What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's scroll back. Who are our folks here who did the family one? Yeah. So there's Audrey and then Christine. Great. Hey, Audrey. I'm calling you out, Audrey. Okay. Because we want something about family, right? And you see the example there at the bottom of 46 where it says complete your lyrics, right? So we're going to repeat that phrase twice. But what would we say about family, right, that would be followed by we shall not be moved? So something about family, we shall not be moved. Something about family, we shall not be moved. Audrey, do you have an idea? And people can help Audrey too.
I don't know if you can hear me, but something
but what
like...
do you think, Audrey?
Something like-
Audrey, you want to? Can we unmute? Can she unmute?
I can hear her.
Beautiful. And I'll put my headphones on, then I'll be able to
then you
hear
can
her.
hear her.
Yeah, we can all hear each other. Yeah, there's an idea. So Audrey, what are you thinking?
I'd really like to see something or say something about we will stay connected. We will be together in this. You know, I think of all the craziness, Zoom has kept at least my family from across the country together, which I've never done before. So something like that, connected, being together.
Yeah. I liked we will stay connected, right? I like that, we will stay connected. Can we try that?
Sure.
Let's sing that, right? You sing along with us, right? So we're just going to sing the same thing that we did, but we're going to put in, we will stay connected, we shall not be moved. We will stay connected, we shall not be moved. And then we'll finish out the last 2 lines as they are in the original Freedom Song. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. We will stay connected.
We will stay connected, we shall not be moved. We will stay connected, we shall not be moved. Like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea of the activity. And just to say, obviously, with students, you would scaffold this and you would stretch it out. We're just kind of like, instant new lyrics. But on the other hand, it is a relatively simple activity. You could see it's achievable in your classroom. And I think there's a lot of teaching that can extend from that. So for instance, we couldn't use exactly the same rhythm, right? Of half, what is it? It's half
quarter,
note,
quarter.
quarter note, quarter note, right? We had to do 4 quarter notes, right? So one thing is, just rhythmic dictation of that. Like, what did we have to do in order to make it fit into the 2-bar phrase? That's a cool bit of musical learning that could, flow out of this. And if you have more ideas about that, maybe you could put them in the chat.
Yeah, and I think we're not sure what Natalie is going to have for us, what her reimagining will be. So I think it can be even more outside of the box than, this is just the start. Like Tom, like you said, this could be scaffolded and added in many different ways. So if your students want to start doing spoken word, add movements, maybe compose their own little bit or harmonies that go around it. It's really just this is the starting point for them with a message that inspires them.
Yeah, beautiful.
Great. Any other questions here? And if not, we can move on, I think.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
All right, so now we'll do New World, right? We wanted to do New World, both of us so badly, Ray, that's what happened. We just kept jumping to it. Okay, what page is this on, Shanna? Let's see, we're back in the repertoire section now, right?
This is for the repertoire on page 18 in the book or 20 on the PDF.
Yeah. So the thing about the New World Symphony and Carnegie Hall, right, is that there is a long and storied history. This piece premiered at Carnegie Hall. And, Dvorak made his visit to the United States and spent a lot of time in New York and in the Midwest and wrote this piece and was inspired by the folk music that he heard of the United States, primarily spirituals. And he wrote his own spiritual. This is not exactly a spiritual, but interestingly, in reverse, this classical tune became a kind of a pop song after the symphony was written. So it's really beautiful, and it's generally played by the English horn in the orchestral version, but we've transposed it so that it can be played by the recorder. This is the one piece where we don't have a singing option. We're just playing it on the recorder. And as you'll hear, it's pretty low in the register, and so it provides some real challenges for breath control and challenges the students to really kind of become in control of their recorder, especially down in that lower range. Ray, what do you want to play a couple bars before, or you want to play the whole intro? Just 2 bars. He's going to play 2 bars intro, and then we'll come in. So it says 7 there, but just watch me and we'll do it. Here we go. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. There is a basic part too, so I played the tune, right? But again, if you have students who are beginners, you might want to give them the basic part, which just has 4 notes, G, A, B, and C, and you should find that on the opposite page from the New World. Any, again, teaching questions, teaching tips, let us know in the chat if you want to, but that's the New World.
That's the New World.
Great. All right, shall we move on to the Firebird?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Firebird Suite by Stravinsky, the finale, is a piece that is really, it's a listening piece, right? And we treat it that way. We really try to maximize the different listening strategies that you can apply to it, and spend some time in the classroom listening to the piece on a recording, right? But using lots of different ways of doing that. And to help us do that, we're going to go to Margaret Jenks in Madison, Wisconsin. She's a wonderful collaborator with us here at Carnegie Hall, and she made a video for us a couple years back that was really about this, about the strategies that she uses in her classrooms. So if we're ready, we'll turn it over to Margaret Jenks.
The trick to teaching really engaged, active listening is to slow down the way the students take in the music. You can't do this through playing it slower, but you can do it by directing the listening and giving thought and purpose to each time the students listen. When they feel like they've discovered something new, figured out an idea, or come up with an insight, then listening can be just as rewarding as playing and singing. I use two different approaches to teaching listening curriculums. The first approach asks the question, what makes the piece really compelling, interesting, or inspiring? Is it a certain tune, a story, a repeated rhythm that the students can find, or an idea that develops? The second method asks the question, what makes the piece tricky or problematic? In other words, address the very thing that might make it a tough sell for kids. I like to call this the friction point, and get them to puzzle out how the composer takes something that we might first hear as complicated, dull, dissonant, or just strange, and does something brilliant and unexpected. So let's take a look at the finale to the Firebird. I actually approached this piece through both the instant attraction and the friction point methods. I determined that the instant attraction is the story. With its magic, hero, and villain, the story is definitely an instant attraction to students. The Horcrux-like way that the evil Kashai can be destroyed, certainly J.K. Rowling comes to mind. My students saw many connections to the favorite books that they had read. And then I told them, the music that we are going to get to listen to is the music that the composer designed for the moment that all the people and creatures who have been turned to stone come slowly back to life. What do you think it's going to sound like? As they made their predictions, I knew they were excited to listen. But the thing is, Stravinsky does something that most fourth graders don't expect. He doesn't create anticipation through new and different ideas, but rather repeating one idea in new ways. Without preparation, this could be a friction point. In other words, something that students don't easily see as brilliant. But the melody for the finale is short and easy to write on the board. In fact, with some scaffolding, my students can read it, they can imagine it, they can play it on mallets, which is exactly what we did. So, fa, mi, so, re, do, fa, mi, do, re. After reading and playing the melody, I told them that this is the music that was played as the stone figures came to life. It's way too short, not dramatic enough. They can't come to life in 5 seconds, was their response. I said, what if we just play it 10 or 15 times? That would be boring. Okay, so how can a composer use this melody, just this melody, for about 3 minutes and 15 seconds and make it just as dramatic, exciting, and not boring as you think it should be? Because that's exactly what Stravinsky does. Uses just this melody. And trust me, you're not going to think it's boring. So they brainstormed. You could use different instruments, change keys, repeat just parts, and then the whole, change a few notes like ornament, add harmony, change the tempo, make it faster or slower, add instruments, play it upside down, play it backwards, put it in different octaves, change the rhythm. Finally, we listened. I told the story from the beginning, and with their list of predictions on the board, the finale started. There were silent cheers and fists rose as instruments changed and were added, as the tempo slowed and sped, as rhythmic values were altered, and as the percussion instruments increased. When we finished, the cheering could be heard down the hall, and we took stock. What did Stravinsky do that you predicted? What did he do that surprised you? In subsequent listenings, students worked to decide where did they think the musical climax of the piece was, and how was that created? They became the actual stone statues that slowly came to life as the music unfolded. They made lists of all the instruments that they heard. They even made their own listening maps. We never run out of reasons to listen another time, and we can just put on a different noticing lens. I know that I've prepared them to listen well when the first thing my students say is, "Can we please play it again?"
Right. Beautiful. Margaret Jenks. Yeah, so some people were saying in the chat that they'd actually run into this video before and used it with success in their classroom, so that's really terrific. Yeah, if there are any other things you want to add or questions about Margaret's approach, I think one of the things that I really love about it in this time is that saying of, let's slow down. You know, let's really slow down the process.
Yeah. And again, whatever your situation is, there were some teachers that they said, like, no, we're not allowed to use the recorders, or if, you know, again, whatever the singing guidelines are. This is a great piece to have all these active listening activities. You know, be inspired by what Margaret shared and how she approaches the piece. We have a listening map that your students can follow. They can create their own musical stories where they get to think of a story and then orchestrate it and play with different musical elements and how characters might sound different. So it really can be, I mean, a full semester exploration if you wanted to go ahead and do that with this piece alone. I'm just curious if anybody else out there wants to share any other active listening strategies that they have used with this piece or any of the pieces, again, and just something that really works well. Please share.
Yeah, you know, I'm noticing that Timothy asked about whether or not it's possible to have that video. And Amy, you mentioned that it's on the website. Is it possible to drop that link into the chat? That would be really terrific. I'm wondering too if people have used the listening map, because it is in the book. It's a beautiful sort of graphic that's found, I think, on page, is it 51 in the PDF and 49 in the printed book. It actually includes the melody up in the kind of upper right-hand corner, but then it really does have a kind of you know, cartoon map of different elements that are in the piece. And I wonder if people have used you know, that graphic, or if they use the map itself in their work. And if you have, please again throw that into the chat and let people know.
And the ballet.
Yeah.
The ballet. We forgot to talk about the ballet. So if you were with us the last time we did Sings, we had dancers, and we included the ballet into the show. So please show your students the ballet as well, and share how dance and music come together to tell a story.
Yeah, you never know what we might throw into the show, right? Claire is saying, yes, I've used the map. Love it. Again, if anybody could say how they used it, that'd be great. Like, in what ways did you use it, or how did you? I mean, even, you know, to the nuts and bolts stuff of, did you project it in the class, or were kids, you know, looking at a handout, or, oh, thank you so much for that link, Amy. That's fabulous. Oh yeah, that Fantasia 2000 cartoon.
Oh, right.
Right, includes it. Yes, it does. Beautiful. That is great. So a listening piece, and we always think that's important on a Link Up concert, even though it is basically like you know, a sing-in, play-in event, right? And kids come to perform, they really do. But we like to have at least one and sometimes two pieces where students are challenged to hear more deeply and to really, and to do that thing that's important to practice too, just to become a really good audience member. You know, and then of course to switch back and be on stage and play their recorder part or sing their vocal part. So thank you so much for all of that, and yes, definitely check out the Margaret Jenks video if you enjoyed it, and you can go back and watch it again if you like. But there's another commission.
Yes.
There's another new piece
Another new piece.
The Orchestra Sings this year, and we should learn about it.
Yes, yes. So this is Ram Tori Maya, and the composer is Rina Esmail. And we have a video of her as well, and we're going to be introduced to her in just a minute here. But we're really excited to have this piece this year and share music from another culture, and asking that of our students too, like who are they? What cultures are they from? When they are thinking about music, writing about music, what are their influences? What are their inspirations? Giving them a moment to share pieces of themselves, just like Rita is going to share a piece of herself in this piece. So we're just very excited to be including, like I said, music from another culture, and learning about different melodic structures. It's not, it's not all the Western structure. There are many, many different ways that melodies and music is structured, and you'll be learning about some of the elements of Hindustani music. If some of your students have met Falu, you'll recognize some of the terms and the concepts within Hindustani music. And there's an aspirational recorder part on this. So this is going to be the one that's like, if you have a rock star recorder class, like this is going to be the one that is really going to challenge them on the recorder. But again, we'll invite them to sing along as well. So I've talked enough about Rina's music. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rina Esmail, and I'm the composer of Ram Tori Maya. So much of my life has been about navigating between cultures. So I grew up in Los Angeles, but I also grew up in a family of immigrants from India. So, I spoke English, but I also spoke Gujarati at home, which was my family's language. I grew up eating burgers and fries with my friends, and then, would come home and eat these amazing Indian dishes that my mother and my grandmother would cook. And all this time I was really aware that there were these separate universes that I was living in that didn't have much connection between them. And so I think that has informed my practice as an artist and as a person in the world, thinking about how I can connect these beautiful cultures to one another and give them some kind of shared vocabulary or some kind of mutual space where they're able to really be in dialogue with one another. So I chose this bhajan, Ram Tori Maya. A bhajan is a devotional song, and that can mean, devotion to a higher power and some kind of spiritual devotion, but I think it can also mean devotion to yourself and to your values. And this piece, it talks about, the world is just coming in, people are expecting all these different things of you, everyone wants something from you, and the question is, how can you just find that clear path to yourself and to what you want and what you care about, and what will allow you to focus with intention? And I think what an important message for children to hear these days. Their phone pings, their parents are expecting certain things of them, their teachers are expecting certain things of them, and in all of that, how can they really find themselves? How can they go within and find what really feels true to them? And how can they pursue that with a really intentional devotion? That was something that I really was hoping I would be able to convey to students. I've been a teacher for longer than I've been a musician. I've taught everything from beginning piano to high-level theoretical analysis. I've taught composing, I've taught ear training, theory, you name it. I've taught so many different subjects, and I've loved every single one of them. I have so much respect for teachers because I know that you want to enhance and enrich your students' lives and worlds. And I really hope that as you encounter and interact with Ram Tori Maya, that it helps you do just that. It helps you bring different cultures into their lives and enrich them and helps them find a way to kind of dance to their own tune and find what feels true within them.
Yeah, Katie Traxler, I'm with you, right? She's terrific. Rena is great.
Yes. So we're going to sing through the piece. I please invite you to sing along with me. I am going to do my best with a pronunciation. There is a pronunciation track, so please use that. But let's just hear the piece, hear the melody, and then we'll do a little bit of call and response again, just to further get the melody into our bodies. Yeah, let's give it a try. Let's give it a listen. Ram Tori Maya Nachi Nachave Ram Tori Maya Nachi Nachave Nisadinu Mera Manuva Vyakuna Nisadinu Mera Manuva Vyakuna Sumireta Sudinahiya Ram Tori Maya Nachi Nachave.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. I wish Rena was here in person to be singing it for us, but we're gonna do our best. But it's so beautiful. So let's do a little call and response at home. So I will sing a line, and then Ray will play, so you can sing with Ray and maybe Tom too.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add, I think it might be a really fun thing to do to set this up to even perhaps weeks before, days before learning this melody, really get the kids, feeling the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and if they can get that into their bodies, then in a certain way, singing the melody will just feel all the more natural.
Yeah, it's even marked like lilting. It feels very like once you feel that, it just feels very, very lilting.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll do a thing where Ray will play his intro, right? Then we'll do the first line.
Yep.
Right? And then you'll have a chance to sing it back. Let's just do that first. That first, okay?
Ram Tori Maya Nachi Nachave.
You sing. Great. All right, so that's the first phrase. So if you learn that, you have the first line and the second line because they just repeat, right? So let's go down to measure 9, or the third line of Ram Tori Maya, right? And everybody, again, I hope you're on the right page. It should be 22 in the PDF and 20 in the printed book, just to say it again. So Shannon will sing that third line, and then we'll sing it.
Nisadina Mera Manava Vyakula.
You sing.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's the. Do you mind, Shannon, just saying those words again, just so we get
I can
the syllables?
try.
The syllables.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm going to say the syllables again. This is how my ear heard it. So
sure.
Nisa. So I was interpreting it kind of like a little like a schwa. That's so Nisa, Dina, and it's in between like E and A. Mera, Manava, Vya. So Vya, Ku, Le.
Beautiful. All right, let's move down now to again, it repeats at 13. So if you've got the third line, you've got the fourth. Let's do the fifth line, measure 17.
Sumirat sudinahiyame.
You sing. Now, the last line is very similar to the first, but not exactly. There's one big difference.
Yes, and I was noticing as I was learning this, you've got to take a breath before Maya. And I hope that's correct. I'd like to ask Rita myself if you could, if that's an okay place to take a breath. So maybe we can ask her that question, because as a singer, I want to make sure that I'm not breathing in between or breaking up a phrase that shouldn't be broken up. But that's a very long note to hold out. So I think we should ask Rita that. But for the time being, I'm going to take the liberty and then maybe ask forgiveness. I'm going to take it before Maya. Ram Tori Maya Nachi Nacha.
You sing. Beautiful. I think we should do the whole thing.
We should do the whole thing.
Do the whole page, right? And give the teachers a chance to sing along now that they've heard it. We've learned the phrases. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right, so your lovely intro again, Ray.
Ram Tori Maya Nachi Nachave. Ram Tori Maya Chave, Nisa Dina Mera, Manava Vyakula, Nisa Dina Mera, Manava Vyakula, Sumira Surina Iyame, Ram Tori
Beautiful. Beautiful. I will say I spent a little time this morning playing the recorder part, and I have to admit I've never played a low C sharp on the recorder before this morning. But just to say how you do it, right, is you're just covering half of the bottom hole. All the other finger holes are covered. So you can get students practicing the difference between a D, C, D and a D, C sharp, D. That's D, C, D, right? So then almost. Close. It's challenging, right? And it will challenge all your fifth grade recorder sharks. Otherwise, it's relatively straightforward again, but still getting the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and all kinds of creative things you can do with that pattern, right? Making up different rhythms that go along in 7, and all great prep for this, for learning this song, and also for just, feeling, shifts in meter and rhythm.
Yeah, this song has been, because this was the newest piece to me, I've been listening to it a lot and singing it a lot, and I happen to just be, I guess humming it. And my daughter, who's now in 1st grade, she curled up on my lap, and she was so interested about everything that I was learning and everything I had to tell her about this piece. And we took out the globe and we were looking and we were talking about the piece. And I mean, within 5 minutes, she was singing along. So this piece, it really does draw you in.
Yeah. We should also mention that the Carnegie staff is going to be adding to the richness and depth of these resources, and there'll be more videos and more resources to come, but that have references both to dance and to rhythms that come out of this tradition that Rena is fusing and syncretizing in a certain way with the work she does, and living and growing up right on the West Coast.
Yeah. Questions?
Yeah, any questions? I saw some chat about this. It is beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, there is a pronunciation track.
Right. Yeah, and there's and what we also have. I think we've got a demo track too, right? And that's
Yes.
part of the curriculum
Yes.
material, so you can check that out as well. Yeah, thank you, Katie. Thank you, Katie.
Oye. Oye. So the final piece of repertoire that we're going to explore is Oye. Tom and I had to revisit the dance as we were rethinking this piece, and I found it kind of came back. So really quickly, because we're going to sing through it and we're going to try to dance. Sometimes it's really challenging for me to dance and sing at the same time, so I'll probably be going back and forth. But as a refresher, for those of you who are new, there is a video too. There's a video of some really great kids teaching the video, so please watch that. But just for a little refresher right now, during the verses, we're going to step together, and you can add a clap on the 4. Step together, step, clap. And then when we get to the chorus, we say, Oye, are you listening? And then you look to the other side. Oye, can you hear them calling? Oye, we are calling to you. And that's basically like all of the moves. And then there's a freestyle part, which is my favorite part.
That's right. And should we teach the claps too?
Yes. So there is an interlude, kind of like a jam out session for the orchestra, and often we bring in other guest musicians in this piece. Is that correct, Tom?
Yeah, because it's really the kind of the finale of the concert, and we always like to have a party at the end of up to celebrate all the work that the students have done. And Oye is our orchestra sings celebration.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after the dance break, there is a clapping pattern, and it's just five claps. So it's up high, Oye, 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 Oye. And then there's kind of a breakdown that we'll get to.
Yeah.
Should we just sing it?
Let's do it.
Great. Let me get the music though here.
Estás solo, llorando en silencio, en la oscuridad. Estás soñando, deseando, con esperanza, con oportunidad. Escúchalos, escúchalos, ellos te llaman. Oye, are you listening? Oye, can you hear them calling? Oye, you are calling to you. Oye, are you listening? Oye, can you hear them calling? Oye, can you hear us?
We're going to do the second verse.
Escúchalos, míralos, escucha lo que tratar de decir. Están en búsqueda del camino, pequeñas voces llamándote. Escúchalos, escúchalos, ellos te llaman. Oye, are you listening? Oye, can you hear them calling? Oye, we are calling to you.
got to get ready for the claps now, right?
So we have 8 measures. Are
Yeah.
we gonna do 8 right now?
Ready? Here we go. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Can you hear us? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Can you hear us? Oh yeah, are you listening? Key change. You catch the key change?
We are calling to you. Oh yeah, are you listening? Oh yeah, can you hear them calling? Can you hear us? Oh yeah.
Big finish, arms in the air.
Big finish. We need more people singing that piece, please. But you can hear the harmonies. You can explore harmony in this piece. And like the loose translation, like when there's no hope, like who's going to hear us and lift us up?
Yeah. It came out of actually a workshop between the in Mexico. Jim Papoulis was doing with students there, and so that's one of the reasons why it ended up with both Spanish and English in the song. And I love the song.
Yeah.
And it's very nice that that Jim Papoulis and Francisco Nunez put together this arrangement that we can do with the orchestra. Okay, so now we've pretty much done it. We've sung through and talked through what the repertoire is for this concert and ways in which you can prepare the students for the orchestra sings. If there are more
Questions?
questions or comments. April is saying that it's always a favorite. It is. It's a fun song to do. Great. So we want to talk about some additional resources that have come online, even during the time of the pandemic and even during, recently. And one of those we're going to invite Sam Livingston to help us with. And it's the instrument families, the new interactive orchestra map that features the instrument families. And there, he's got it up already. Sam,
Here
thank
we
you
are,
so
Tom.
much. Sam, can you say hello and just give a wave, just so we...
Hey, everybody. Good to see you all today. So this is our brand new orchestra map. It's live on the Carnegie Hall website. We've been working on it for about the last year. And it's totally interactive. So I'll just show you around a little bit. You can click into each of the instruments. So here's the violin. It tells you what family you're part of. And there's a great little demo video for each instrument. And I'll just take you around to a few more instruments. Let's stop by the trumpets. So one great thing about this map is that each of those videos are alumni of our National Youth Orchestra program, so NYO USA and NYO2. You can see the players' hometowns right in the video, so you can see players from across the country who have been part of those programs here at Carnegie Hall in the past. I'm a percussionist, so I can't let us finish up without seeing percussion. Great. One other thing I wanted to point out is up here on the top left, you can toggle between instruments and families, and you can see the orchestra families together. So when I hover over strings, now I get all of the strings together: woodwind, brass, and percussion. And you can scroll down and find more listening adventures and other things on this page.
Great. Thank you, Sam. That is great. And this to show just how much I trust you, I'm going to ask if the Carnegie Hall staff can do it, if they can drop a link to this in the chat, even knowing that you might just get lost in it. You might just we might leave the PD because it's so much fun, but you should actually play with it yourself, because that will also give you a lot of ideas about how you can open it up, for kids. It's relatively straightforward, as you saw, so I think actually they'll know probably more quickly than we will how to take advantage of it, and that's one of the great things about the the interactive orchestra map.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
One other thing, just to point out, the additional sections, there is the concert experience section, getting your students to know where Carnegie Hall is and other important places in your neighborhood, and also just the history of Carnegie Hall, who has performed at the hall, what has happened at the hall, and how to prepare for the concert, how to be an expert audience member. So having that conversation with your students and showing them this, just knowing that these are in the curriculum as well.
Yeah. Another thing that is going to happen over the next few months is that there will be more resources, especially that have to do with reading, that will be added, and you can contribute to this too. If you know of books or videos or other recordings, other resources that you think connect to the curriculum of the Orchestra Sings, send it in. Send it into Amy Marison, send it into Angelica, right? They'd love to get your ideas, but know that they're also working to kind of deepen that list as well, so that you can connect literacy and literacy learning in your school to the work that you're doing. And also, it can give you a way to collaborate with the classroom teachers who you're obviously working with all the time. And I think we probably have some classroom teachers even in this group online today. But just to say, it's a great way to get a conversation going. A book will do it. Yeah. We want to turn it back over to Amy and Angelica in just a moment for Q&A. Different things that you would like to be able to find out about, but not before we thank Ray Wong. Thank you so much for playing today. That'd be great.
And just what a gift this program is, and what a gift it is just to be here in person today, and for you to all to take your time, your precious time to be here. And even though we couldn't hear you, I could feel that you were there and singing along. So in the Ode to Joy, it's like even your voice feels small, it still felt very, very powerful. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to the staff here. We're broadcasting from the Domena Center down on 37th Street on 10th Avenue in Manhattan. And thank you, Shanna.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.